विश्व माता जी, कुछ ऐसी बातें हैं जो आजकल डेली लाइफ में सहजियों की ज़्यादा ही एग्रेसिव नेचर की वजह से हम वाइब्रेशंस कम पाते हैं। तो जितने भी सहजी डेली लाइफ में सुबह से लेकर रात तक में हम जो भी काम करते हैं या जिनसे भी मिलते हैं, उसमें एक रिएक्ट की भावना ज़्यादा शामिल हो रही है। हम कुछ भी क्रिया होती है, कुछ भी काम कोई करता है या कुछ भी होता है हमारे साथ, तो हम तुरंत रिएक्ट करते हैं, यानी क्रिया के साथ तुरंत हमारी प्रतिक्रिया होने लगती है। आप कुछ भी होता है तो तुरंत मत जवाब दीजिए या तुरंत मत उस चीज़ पे रिएक्ट कीजिए। अगर हमें किसी को समझाना भी है तो हम थोड़ा रुक के शिव माता जी से प्रार्थना करके ध्यान अवस्था में उस चीज़ को बोलिए। फिर देखिए, वो रिएक्शंस नहीं कहलाएगा, वो हम परम चैतन्य के माध्यम से बोलते हैं। किसी से बात करनी है तो पहले बंधन ले लीजिए और चित्त को शिव माता जी के श्री चरणों में रख के ही हम बात करें, चाहे आप किसी से भी बात करें। बट रिएक्शंस को बिल्कुल भी ख़त्म कीजिए अपने दिनचर्या से, क्योंकि रिएक्शंस जैसे ही होता है हम परम चैतन्य से कट जाते हैं, यानी हम शिव माता जी से दूर हो जाते हैं। क्योंकि रिएक्शंस परमात्मा को बिल्कुल भी पसंद नहीं है, वो आज्ञा लेवल की बात है। इसीलिए हमें शिव माता जी से हमेशा निर्विचारिता के लिए प्रे करना चाहिए और सबको क्षमा, अपने को क्षमा, अपनी फैमिली को क्षमा, अपने पड़ोसियों को क्षमा, सबको क्षमा करते रहना चाहिए हमें। और शिव माता जी से भी हमें क्षमा मांगनी चाहिए। तो इस तरह से हम अपने लाइफ से रिएक्ट को बिल्कुल शांत करें। अपने आप रिएक्ट को शांत करने के लिए अपने राइट चैनल को कूल करें आइस पैक से, और अपने चित्त को हमेशा निर्विचार रख के, क्योंकि जितने भी हम क्लियरेंस करते हैं उस क्लियरेंस को एकमात्र निर्विचारिता ही बैलेंस देगी। अगर हम छोटे छोटे चीज़ों पे विचार करते हैं तो उस चीज़ पे हमें बैलेंसिंग नहीं मिलती है और हम पकड़ जाते हैं, विचार आते ही हम पकड़ जाते हैं। इसीलिए शिव माता जी से हमेशा हमें निर्विचारिता के लिए प्रे करनी चाहिए। और कुछ स्टेप हैं जो लिवर पे आइस पैक या लेफ्ट हैंड को राइट नाभि पे रख के श्री गणेश अर्थवशीष, शिव माता जी की बिंदी को कैंडल के फ्लेम से देखते हुए श्री गणेश अर्थवशीष, ये सब अगर हम डेली लाइफ में करते हैं तो हमें निर्विचारिता जल्दी मिलती है। जय शिव माता जी।
3 महामंत्र। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुण्डलिनी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री सहस्रार्य स्वामिनी मोक्षप्रदायिनी माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। श्री गणेश मंत्र। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री गणेश साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः।
जय श्री माता जी। दोनों हाथ माँ के सामने अपने हृदय में श्री माता जी को नमन करेंगे। परम पूजनीय श्री माता जी, कृपा करके हम सभी के ध्यान में आइए, विचारों में आप आइए। अपने बीचों बीच हृदय में श्री माता जी को देखेंगे। श्री माता जी, हम सबको क्षमा कर दीजिए, हम सभी अज्ञानी हैं। दोनों हाथों पे अपने विचारों में, अपनी आँखों में श्री माता जी की छवि को रखते हुए बाएं हाथ माँ के सामने, दाहिने हाथ को बाएं हृदय पे रख लेंगे। श्री माता जी, आपकी परम कृपा में मैं केवल एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ। पूरा चित्त बाएं हृदय पे। श्री माता जी, आपकी परम कृपा में मैं केवल एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ। श्री माता जी, कृपा करके हमारी इस आत्मा को प्रकाशित कीजिए। पूरे चित्त को बाएं हृदय पर रखते हुए श्री माता जी, हमारी इस आत्मा में पूर्ण शांति दीजिए। श्री आत्मा परमात्मा मंत्र। ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री आत्मा परमात्मा साक्षात् श्री आदि शक्ति माता जी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। दोनों हाथ माँ के सामने अपने संपूर्ण चित्त को तीनों मूलाधार पे, तीनों मूलाधार को देखेंगे केवल। सेंटर नाभि पे, बीचों बीच नाभि पे अपना संपूर्ण चित्त। श्री माता जी, हमें पूर्ण रूप से संतुष्ट कर दीजिए। पेट के चारों तरफ पूरे भवसागर में अपने चित्त को रखेंगे। अपने संपूर्ण चित्त को दाएं हृदय पे। श्री माता जी, हमारे इस हृदय में श्री सीताराम जी की समस्त शक्तियों को जागृत कीजिए। श्री माता जी, मेरे अंदर जो भी जिम्मेदारी का भाव है वो आप हैं। कृपा करके हमें साक्षी भाव में जिम्मेदारी निभाने की शक्ति दीजिए। सेंटर विशुद्धि। फ्रंट आज्ञा। सिर के तालू भाग पर चित्त को रखते हुए सिर के तालू भाग से दोनों हाथों को देखेंगे। श्री माता जी, कृपा करके हमें पूर्ण निर्विचारिता दीजिए। आपकी अमृत वाणी को हम सहस्त्रार से सुन सके ऐसी कृपा कीजिए।
Today we are doing a special type of puja which is performed in the glory of Ekadasha Rudra. Rudra is the destructive power of Shiva, of the spirit. Now, one power which is his nature is forgiveness. He forgives because we are human beings, we commit mistakes, we do wrong things, we get tempted, our attention is disturbed, so he forgives us. He also forgives us when we spoil our chastity, we do immoral things, we do thieving, and we do things that are against God, talk against Him. He also forgives our superficialities, jealousies, our lust, our anger. Also He forgives our attachments, petty jealousies, vanities, and also possessiveness. He forgives our egoistical behavior and also our subordination to wrong things. But every action has a reaction. And when he forgives, he thinks that he has given you a big grace mark. And that reaction builds up within him as a wrath against those who are forgiven try to do greater mistakes, especially after realization. Because such a big blessing there is of the realization. You've got the light, and in the light, if you are holding on to a snake, then his wrath goes up because he sees how stupid you have been. What I'm saying is that after realization especially, he is much more sensitive that people who are forgiven and have been given such a big thing like self-realization, still they do wrong things, then he is much more wrathful. So in the balance, the forgiveness starts reducing and wrathfulness starts increasing. But when he forgives, and as a result of that forgiveness, you feel the gratitude, then his blessings start flowing towards you. He gives you tremendous capacity to forgive others. He pacifies your anger. He pacifies your lust. He pacifies your greed. Like beautiful dewdrop, his blessings come on our being and we become really beautiful flowers. And we start shining in the sunshine of his blessings. Now he uses his wrath or his destructive power to destroy all that tries to trouble us. He protects realized souls at every point, in every way. Negative forces try to attack a Sahaja-yogi, but they are all neutralized by his tremendous power of protection. Through his vibratory awareness, we are guided into right path. All the beautiful blessings of his are described in the Psalm 23, isn't it? That's the 23 Psalm.
The Lord is my shepherd.
The Lord is my shepherd is all described, how he looks after you like a shepherd. But he does not look after the evil people. He destroys them. Those who enter into Sahaja Yoga are still carrying on with their evil nature are destroyed. Those who come to Sahaja Yoga and do not meditate and do not fight, he destroys. Or they are thrown out of Sahaja Yoga. Those who murmur against God and live in a way that is not behoving as Sahaja Yogi, he removes them from. So by one force he protects, by another force he throws away. But his destructive forces, when they are built up too much, then we call it now the Ekadasha Rudra is active. Now this Ekadasha Rudra will be expressed when the Kalaki itself will start acting, means the destructive power which will destroy all that is negative on this earth and save all that is positive. So it is very necessary for Sahaja Yogis to expedite their ascent, not to be satisfied with the social life or married life or with all the blessings that God has bestowed upon us. We always see what God has done for us, how he has been miraculous to us, but we have to see what we have done to ourselves. What are we doing about our own ascent and growth? Now out of the 11 Ekadasha means 11, the 5 come from the right side of your void and 5 from the left side of your void. The first 5 on the left hand side come from if you have bowed yourself to wrong gurus, or if you have read wrong books, or if you have been in the company of wrong people, or if you have been sympathetic towards people who have been following wrong paths, or you have been yourself one of the agents or guru of these wrong people. Now these 5 problems can be solved if we completely give up whatever wrong we have been doing. As Muhammad Sahib has said that you have to beat the shaitan, means the Satan, with shoes. But that has to be done not mechanically but from your heart. Like many people who come to Sahajog will tell me, my father is following this guru, that father is following that guru, and get involved with their father, mother, sister, this, that, and try to take them out from those gurus, also get entangled. Or some of them yield to others' forces, like I know of Maureen, who was with me, and her parents and parents-in-law said that the child must be baptized. I told her, you cannot get this child baptized because the realized soul. But she could not that way stand up to them, and she took the child for baptism, and the child became very funny. It was like a mad child. Now then she gave up all that, and so she was saved. But supposing she had another child, she would have done the same thing. The second child would have been something very, very bad. Now the trouble with Sahajogis is that anybody who comes to Sahajoga program thinks he's a Sahajogi. It's not so. Either you should have very strong sensitivity, or you should feel it in your body, or with your intelligence you should understand what is Sahajogi. A person who is still negative always gets attracted towards another one who is a very, very powerfully negative, and does not understand that the other person is so powerfully negative, but gets impressed. Under such circumstances, such a person is hit by that negative person, and Shiva cannot protect. One should not have sympathy with anyone who is negative, whether he is mad, whether there is something wrong with him, whether he is your relation or anything. No sympathy of any kind. On the contrary, a kind of anger should be there for that person. Kind of a detachment, angry detachment. And this angry detachment is the only time when you have to be angry. But I have seen people who have anger for very good Sahajogis, but not for their own husband or wives, who are extremely negative. So when the Ekadasha Rudra starts acting on these 5 sides, on the we should say on the right side it moves, because it comes from the left and moves to the right side, then a person starts becoming negative but acting with his ego. Such a person may take up a situation into hands and say that I am such and such Sahajogi, and I am so, and we should do like this, and we should behave like this, and start dictating people. Can do anything. And some mediocres or some half-baked Sahajogis may try to understand, but most of them will know that this fellow is going out now, he's on his way out. So all these things lead to this left side development, or we can call it on the head, on the right hand side of your medha. This brain plate is called as medha in Sanskrit language. Now the right sided one comes from the idea people have that I am myself a big guru. They start preaching about Sahajog also as if they are become great gurus. We have known some people who give big lectures in any program and never allow my tape to be played or anything. They think they have now become experts. Then some of them say that now we have become so great that we need not do any foot soaking or anything, there's no need to do meditation. There are some like that also. And then there are some who say that sin can never touch us, now we are Sahajogis, we are very great evolved souls. But the worst of all are those who just take my name saying that Mother has said so, and I'm telling you because Mother has said, when I've never said such a thing. It's all falsehood. Now there are some people who use Sahajoga money and exploit Sahajoga in such a way, exploit them. Sahajogis also sometimes. And such people become very inauspicious. Anyone who tries such things will go out of Sahajoga with disgrace. But one should never go near such a person, have nothing to do with such a person, have no sympathy. Because this inauspiciousness will hurt anyone to any extent, so better keep out of such people. When these 10 Ekadashas are developed within a person, then definitely such a person gets diseases like cancer and incurable, horrible diseases. Especially when the 11th one, which is actually here, which is the Virata chakra, which is the collectivity, when it is affected as well, then such a person cannot get out of this disease. But these, out of these, even 5 are combined, supposing, with Muladhara or with Agya, then they get into very serious type of dirty diseases. That's why I always say that be careful about your Agya chakra, because that is one of the worst things that once it starts getting combined with these Ekadashas, part of the Ekadashas, then anything can happen to a person. He can meet with a horrible accident, he can suddenly be hit by someone, could be murdered by someone, anything can happen to such a person who has got the right Agya, and also any one of the Ekadashas, right or left. That means the 5 of these, if they, any one of the 5s, if they combine with Agya chakra, the protective power of God are minimum. So to keep your Agya chakra right, say now I'm speaking, now you should watch me constantly so that there is thoughtless awareness and the Agya chakra is soothed out. But don't pay attention here and there all the time. Then you will find that gradually your attention will neutralize into thoughtless awareness. And your attention would be fixed in such a manner that you don't have to worry about anything. In thoughtless awareness, nobody can touch you. That's your fortress. By meditation, one must establish thoughtless awareness. That is the sign that you are rising higher. Many people do meditation and say, all right, Mother, we are doing mechanically, they do. And they say, yes, I did this, I did this, I did this. But did you achieve your thoughtless awareness minimum of minimum? Otherwise, if you are doing something mechanically, it is not going to help you or help anyone. So after realization, as you are very well protected, you have all the blessings and a great future, you also have a great possibility of a complete annihilation. I would say, to give an analogy, you are climbing and everybody is supporting you to climb, holding your hand, and there are so many things by which you are protected to be taken upward. There is no possibility of falling off by mistake also. But if you try to remove your bondages with truth and love, and all the time try to hit the people who are trying to support you, then you fall from a great height. Greater height. I mean, the greater height you rise, the greater you fall. and with a greater force also, much go deeper. But every effort is made by the Divine, every support is given to you, every care is taken. Despite that, if you want to fall, then from that height is very dangerous. But Ekadasha Rudra at that time, at such a time, when somebody tries to harm the cause of Sahaja Yoga after being in Sahaja Yoga, then hits you so badly that the whole attack is very widespread. But the whole family can be protected if there are few people of that family doing Sahaja Yoga work, could be protected. But in case the family that is against all the time of Sahaja Yogis and try to trouble them can be completely destroyed in a very bad way. Now these Ekadasha Rudras come out of, as I told you, from the void. So we can say that the destruction part of it comes from the void mainly. But these are the powers, all are given in one person, that is the Mahavishnu, that is Lord Jesus Christ. Because he is the support of the whole universe. He is the personification of Omkara, he is the personification of vibrations. So when he gets angry, then the whole universe starts breaking. As he personifies the power of the mother, which is penetrating into every atom, into every molecule, and to every human being, into every that is living and non-living. Once it gets disturbed, the whole thing gets into jeopardy. So the pleasing of Christ is very important. Now Christ has said, you have to be like small children. That is the innocence, the purity of heart is the best way you can please Him. As in the West especially, people have developed their brains too much. They try to play about with words and think that nobody knows what they are doing. All such people must know that everything you do is known to God. If you are not clean in your heart, it is very dangerous for anybody to pose as if he is a very good Sahaja Yogi. Such people are not possessed, nor they are conditioned, nor they are egoistical, but they are very cunning, clever people, and they are quite aware as to what they are doing. But there are people who get possessed also, and then they try to destroy themselves or cry and weep and do all kinds of things. There are some who think that if they hurt themselves or do some sort of an extreme thing, then God will be happy, are sadly mistaken. If you cannot enjoy in Sahaja Yoga, then you should know there's something wrong with you. If you cannot feel happy in Sahaja Yoga, then you must know there's something definitely wrong with you. If you cannot enjoy the company of Sahaja Yogis, then be sure something wrong with you. If you cannot laugh and appreciate the greatness of God, then it's something wrong with you. If you are still worried about negative people and their problems, then know that there's something wrong with you. If you have sympathies with negative people, then also there's something wrong with you. But if you have anger for negative, and all that is negative, that is against Sahaja Yoga, then you are there. When this thing gets mature, then you become the power of Ekadasha Rudra yourself. Anybody who will try to insult you or to do any harm will collapse. It has happened with many people who tried to be insulting to me or tried to harm me or anyway. Sometimes I am quite worried about them. So one has to be in such a way that they become the Ekadasha. Nobody can touch such people. But such a person is full of compassion and forgiveness. As a result, Ekadasha acts much faster. The more compassionate you are, the more powerful Ekadasha becomes. The more collective you become, the more Ekadasha acts. Many people have a habit of receding back into their exclusion and saying that, oh, we better be at home and it's all right. But they don't know what they are missing. Whatever may be your experience with others, you should stick on together, always attend programs, take leadership, go ahead with it, work it out, and you will be blessed thousandfold. Ekadasha Rudra are all the powers, I would say, of destruction together. This is the power, destructive power of Sri Ganesh. Is the destructive power of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. It is the destructive power of the mother. Is the destructive power of the Ganesha, of what you call Shiva's is the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, and four of these are Bhairava and Hanumana, Kartikeya and Ganesha. And Ganesha. Also the powers of Sadashiva and of the Adishakti. All the destructive powers of all the incarnations are Ekadasha. Now the last but not the least is the destructive power of Hiranyagarbha, which is the collective Brahmadeva. And this power, when it acts, every atom explodes, the whole atomic energy goes into a destructive power. So thus, the complete total destructive power is Ekadasha Rudra. It's extremely powerful, explosive, but it's not blind. It's very discriminating and extremely delicately woven. It avoids all the good points and attacks the wrong things. Avoids. And it hits at the right time, at the right point, direct, without hitting anything that is good in between. Now the glance of Ekadasha Rudra falls upon someone, say, for example, and there is something in between which is divine or which is a positive thing. It penetrates through positive without harming the positive and hits the negative. It cools down somebody and burns another. Not freezing, it doesn't freeze, it cools down. So that is how it works with such care and such delicacy. And it is tremendously sharp also. And it's very painful. It's not like cutting the neck in one shot. It goes on slowly, slowly. All the horrible tortures that you have learnt or heard about are expressions of Ekadasha only. For example, take the case of cancer. In the cancer thing, the nose is removed, the tongues are removed, and the gullet is removed, and everything goes on one after being removed with terrible pain, you see. Take leprosy, for example. The lepers cannot feel their fingers. They cannot feel it. So any rat or anything eats their finger, they can't feel it. So they start losing their fingers. That is how Ekadasha eats up people. Devours. But this wrathfulness of the father can be very gentle and could be very sweet when it comes to his own children. The story is about the mother. Once she got very angry, the primordial mother, and she was so angry she wanted to destroy the whole world with her Ekadash power. And she tried to destroy the whole world. When she went into that mood, the father himself felt that she is being a bit too much angry. So, when she started destroying, and she was going right and left, he didn't know what to do. So, he took her child, that means representing Sahajogi, you can say, representing Christ, or representing any one of these great children of hers, that he put the child under her feet. So when she was stamping, suddenly she saw her own child under her feet, and such a big tongue came out. She just stopped balancing. But this has happened only once. So after Ekadashi Rudra, ultimately the complete destruction comes through the anger of Sadashiva, when the final total destruction takes place. So thus we have seen how Ekadasha Rudra acts and how Sahajogis have to become themselves Ekadasha Rudra. Now to develop this power, one has to develop a tremendous power of detachment, power of detachment from negative. For example, negativity can come from very near people like brother, mother, sister, could come from friends, could come from relatives. It could come from a country, it could come from your political ideas, economic ideas, anything like that. Any misidentification can destroy your power of Ekadashi. So it is not only sufficient to say that I am surrendered to Sahajog and I am a Sahajogi, but you must know mentally also what is Sahajog, so that intelligently you understand what is Sahajog. Because in the West especially people are over-intelligent, and if the light of Sahajoga doesn't enter into their intelligence, you can never overcome your attachments. That doesn't mean you talk too much about Sahajog or you give lectures on that, but mentally you should also understand what is Sahajog. Today is a special day when it has been asked that we should have Ekadasha Rudra Puja, and is for all kinds of false religious sects and false gurus and false religions which are followed in the name of God, or any religion that does not say about self-realization and does not achieve self-realization and does not get connected with God is false. So any such thing that is just fake and talks of God but has no connection with God cannot be a true religion. Of course, it gives a balance to people, but in giving that balance, if people live on that money and try to enjoy a wealth out of that money, then it is not even at the very lower level is religion. Like a balance, you see, religion has to give you a balance to begin with. But in that balancing, when they tell you, you have to be balanced, but give me money for that. You must give me money, give all your purse, give you everything. Then that cannot be balanced. It does not even have a slightest thing or the blessings of God. Or any religion that makes you bow to anybody else but the incarnation is no religion. That's another one which is absolutely false. The real religion will give you a balance and will always talk about the ascent. But they will not ask for money or make one man something great as venerated. Thus, we should learn to discriminate between falsehood, negative things and real things. Once you develop that discrimination through vibratory awareness or through your intelligence, you are in the control of yourself. And then you become that power of Ekadasha. When you establish your maturity. Today I bless you all that you all become the power of Ekadasha Rudra. And you develop that sincerity which takes you to that state. May God bless.
I bow to all the Sahajogis of the world. It is very heartening to see so many of you assembled here to do the Guru Puja, to worship your Guru in person is regarded as the highest blessing. But in my case, it's a very different combination that I am your mother and your Guru. So you can understand how Sri Ganesha worshipped his mother. You all are created in the same image of Sri Ganesha, who worshipped his mother, and then he became the Adi Guru, the first Guru. He is the primordial essence of mastery. Only the mother can make the child a master. And the motherhood in any Guru, whether male or female, can only make the disciple a Guru. So first, you have to become the prophets and develop that motherhood within yourself, then you can make others also prophets. Now, to become a guru, what do we have to do after our realization? Guru word means gravity. Gravity means a person who is grave, who is deep, who is magnetic. Now, as you have learnt in Sahaja Yoga, that realization takes place in complete effortlessness. So normally a guru tries to make his disciples effortless. It is called as prayatna shaithilya, means relax your efforts. Without doing anything, you got your prayatna shaithilya, otherwise Kundalini would not have risen. Now the second stage is vichara shaithilya, the thoughtless awareness. This also you got it without doing anything. And the third is complete negation of thought, abhava, and the bliss of peace. So one has to understand that you have to pass them through 3 stages. First, when you get your realization, all these things come spontaneously for that moment. When you raise the Kundalini of others, these things happen to them spontaneously. You too have that power now to raise the Kundalini of people and to establish it in them. But we must understand why it has to be done that way. Why we have to have vichara shaithilya. Because when you project any thought, it is artificial. It is not reality. Thought always stands between you and the reality. When you put in an effort, you stand against becoming. For example, if I have to cure you, I just put my hand and finished. No effort. Because I am that. You get your realization because I am that. I don't put in any effort, I don't think about it. I am that. Just looking at someone, it can be done. Just putting attention to someone, it can be done. Just with a small desire, it can be done. Because you are that. You can mold it the way you like. You can get an example from gold. Now gold is untarnishable. It does not have to think it is untarnishable. It does not have to put in an effort it is untarnishable. It is. So to be, you don't have to put in any effort. If you have to put in an effort, that means you are not yet that. If you look at the sun, it shines. It doesn't have to put in effort to shine. So to be that, if you have to put in an effort, that means you are not that. You are trying, you are artificial. The flowers are beautiful, so they don't have to beautify themselves. And this is what one has to understand, that innately if you are that, if you have already become, then what is the need to put in any more effort? But when we say these things, you see, then people think you have to be lethargic, that you need not do anything. You become a guru without doing anything. That's why at the very outset I said it goes in stages. So the first stage is of Sri Ganesha. How he surrenders to the Shakti, to the mother. That is the beginning. If one cannot surrender, that doesn't mean you don't do anything. But surrendering means the worship, the respect of the higher, the obedience to the higher, not to argue it out, not to react, acceptance, absorption, like a child absorbs the milk of the mother, without questioning, without reasoning. That's why Christ has said, You have to become like children. But if you are questioning, then you are no more a child. So first is the state which you have to develop is the childlike state. But child, which is a realized child, which has to have a gravity. If you can develop childhood first, then everything takes proper course. Because maturity cannot take place unless and until you start from the very beginning. And gravity means maturity, not frivolousness. So now the quality of Ganesha, as you know, is that he has viveka, means he has discretion. He has means he is discretion. So try to develop your discretion power so that Sri Ganesha gives you the wisdom, subuddhi, wisdom. And this is why you have to have a dependence on Sri Ganesha. So at this point, you have to make a negation of efforts. Like whatever are efforts anti-Ganesha or anti-innocence must be negated. So the negation of effort is to be achieved by negating whatever is the effort. Means the effort of negation. So in the beginning you will not be effortless. You will have to put in effort. Like Christ has said, thou shalt not have adulterous eyes. So how do you make your eyes innocent? In Sahaja Yoga we have a method by which we try to distract our eyes from effort that makes it adulterous. Like we try to put our attention, our eyes on the Mother Earth, on the grass, on the trees. So the avoiding of the effort itself is effort. So those people who have come now recently have to understand also that they have to put in all kinds of efforts to stop the efforts. For example, some people are used to very comfortable life. They may talk of all kind of renunciation. When it comes to comfort, they want to have comfort. Such people should try to get out of the habit of comfort. Sleep on the ground, sleep on the Mother Earth. Some people have an attention which is all the time looking this side, that side, cannot see to one point. So fix your attention. So gradually you will find, you will discipline yourself. So the effort that you put in is very important in the beginning of Sahaja Yoga. Another thing is very common in the West is the harsh tongue, the sarcasm and hurting others is a very subtle way of violence. Or if they are really blunt, they can start with ego expressions also. I. Such people should stop talking completely. Make an effort to stop. Just don't talk. Now watch your mind. Is it trying to talk something sarcastic, nonsensical? So this watching also requires effort. So to sprout the seed is easy, but then one has to put in the effort to look after the little plant. And when it matures, then it's on. So first the effort should be made to protect yourself against the mind which you have built in through your ego or superego that goes into the wrong direction of effort. But sometimes be very careful. You have to be discreet. And the best way to be safe on discretion is to keep in the center. Never go to any extreme of anything. For example, some people are fond of music, say. So they'll go on after the music part of it. Some people, say, are fond of poetry. Then they'll go after the poetry. There is nothing wrong in it. But whatever you achieve in all these things must be brought back to the collective and must be enjoyed by everyone. And you should also enjoy what others have. For example, somebody is a very learned man and a dry person. So he has to make an effort to make himself sweet. So try to neutralize your extreme nature by coming in the center. And the best way to say is, I like everything. The way you keep me, I am happy in that. And to suggest to yourself that I am the peace. Suggest, or to suggest. I am the satisfaction. I am the dignity. Try to impose these artificialities upon yourself of these virtues and righteousness. And then ask yourself, if I am dignified, how can I do such a thing? Ask yourself. You judge yourself with those. For example, somebody is a miserly person and he says, oh, you must be generous. Then you call him a hypocrite. But supposing the miserly, you see, questions himself, then he is not a hypocrite. So when you put all these artificial so-called values upon yourself, sort of a goal, and then try to achieve that goal through your own effort, then you become that. So automatically you criticize yourself and you don't criticize others. And you know what's wrong with you. Because what's the use of knowing what's wrong with others? It is like England trying to improve the conditions in India and India trying to improve the conditions in England. But in this also, human brain has an escape. When they want to criticize themselves, they find a pouch called the left Vishuddhi and become settled there. The more cunning you are, the more clever you are, the worse is the left Vishuddhi. Then you put everything there, settle down nicely to stagnate, to get all kinds of filth in it, and to be settled with yourself nicely. It's like any lousy housewife. She takes all the dirt of the house and all that and piles up into a room, locks it up, and thinks, oh, she has been very efficient. You have to face it and you have to correct it and see to it. And that's how you become powerful. Because if your machinery is out of gear, what's the use of improving somebody else's machinery? And when your machinery is out of gear, you put it in a lock and key and lock it up and say, now it's all right. Or you blame somebody because of this, because of that, something else other than you. Thank God to Sahaja Yoga today that you all have got realization, so I don't have to do all that cleaning. You can do yourself. So in short, you become your own guru to begin with. You try to tell yourself, separate yourself from yourself and say, hello, sir, how are you now? Come along. But in Sahaja Yoga, you see, people suddenly assume, you see, a big sort of ego nonsense, and they think they are big gurus, you see, big great people, avadutas. And if you ask them, they say, Mother, I loved you very much. So they think if they loved me, then it is my duty that I should really keep you clean. That's not the attitude of a guru. What guru does is to purify himself and others and give those flowers to the deity. Till you all become gurus, I am your guru. But once you become the guru, then I become your deity.
Jusqu'à ce que, Srimataji, please, could you repeat?
Till they are not yet gurus, I am their guru. Till they reach that state. Once they become the guru, then I am their deity. Like all the gurus, say, we can say Muhammad Sahib, he talked of Allahu Akbar.
Oh.
He talked of the Holy Ghost. He talked of the resurrection because he was a guru. And whatever he had to say, he said it with full confidence pointing out towards the point where he looks or where he gets his guidance from. Like Moses, like Christ also put his 2 fingers denoting his father. So, till you become your own guru, you have to put in effort in the beginning. Then gradually you can achieve it effortlessly. Effortlessness is not to be certified, but you can verify it. A person who is discreet, in his presence others become discreet. A person who is honest, others in his presence become honest. It is said in Sanskrit language, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. As the king is, that's how the subjects are. When you are the guru, you are the example. You have to be the example. Now, I have seen people who are gurus, who call themselves gurus in different varieties and different type of lives, like professors, teachers, you can call them, not spiritual gurus. They too, when they try to follow a mundane type of life, not of something exceptional, then their disciples lose faith in them. Even political leaders, when supposing a political leader is licentious, he has weaknesses, then the people who try to follow him have no respect. So they too have to have a personal character, a personal value system. So what about the spiritual gurus then? They have to be excellent people. There should be no 2 type of life, one outside, one inside. When the outside and inside becomes one, then it is effortless. And that is what one has to do, the inside and the outside. One has to work it out from inside. For that, you cannot bring the outside inside, but inside has to go outside. So this is the beginning of Antar Yoga, the inner yoga. At the second stage, you have to become thoughtless. This is very important in the West. Because they live in thoughts, they don't have other problems of a gross nature. For example, they are brought up in such a way that they are frightened of law. They are brought up this way, they'll keep all their carpets clean, everything clean, you see, very particular about keeping every place clean. All the gross things they keep clean. And then when they try to adjust themselves, they adjust within. Outwardly they are gentlemanly, but inside, in their thought, they are not clean. In their behavior, they are not clean, their eyes are not clean. It's poison inside. And they like that poison to be taken out. Sometimes it comes out as sarcasm. It comes out as their sinister acts of aggression on other countries. They may plan out the complete destruction of the world. And they don't think there's anything wrong in it. Because it's an ideology for which is a thought they are fighting for. As long as there is an ideology, there's a thought, there's some sort of a sublime talk, then they can do what they like. This filth is very sophisticated. Like the people who don't take their baths can use some artificial things to get a fragrance. Inside has to be clean. And that's why first the efforts are to be made to have good thoughts. Watch your mind. How does it think about others? I would say racialism is one of the diseases of the same thing. I've seen people who are very well placed, sophisticated, wear immaculate dresses. When it comes to a person from a developing country or from, say, another color, complexion, they come out with a remark. Even if they are Sahajogis, I've seen that. I'm saying this for the Sahajogis and not for others. That suddenly that dead stuff which we call as dead becomes alive. So the mind is dirty, full of lust, greed, and anger, jealousy. And that's why we have to be very, very careful. Those people have become sophisticated, their weaknesses have also become sophisticated. And that's why jealousy is a common disease. Like the other day I asked someone why the father is angry with the son and with his own brother. So the answer was because the brother is looking after the son in London. I mean, he should
l'enfant de
be...
cette personne.
Normally any person should be thankful that somebody is looking after my son in my absence. But the fellow is jealous because of possessiveness. And the possessiveness comes out of insecurity. And insecurity comes within us because we make others insecure. There are many reasons for insecurity, but one of them is because we are ugly and we see that ugliness in others. Now this inside filth has to be taken out with greater effort than the outside filth. That inside filth you can watch and see within yourself. Some people try to dominate others, to tell them things, just for the bossiness of it.
For the
bossiness, just it. Now watch out. First of all, have you bossed yourself enough? Have you mastered yourself enough? Are you master of your own, or you are still lacking in that? Those who have not mastered themselves want to have others to master them. But the one who is the master of oneself need not master anyone. He becomes the master. He doesn't have to put in any effort, he masters. And there are so many tricks by which he can master. So many things by which he can correct. He may not say, he may not do anything, but just he manages. Everyone learns a lesson without his doing anything about it. But they know that somebody is a master of masters. Maybe such a person will be very unassuming, simple, innocent looking. But that's Mahamaya. That's the illusion.
Mais ceci, c'est l'illusion.
So the person who is that power doesn't want to show it outside. On the contrary, it shows in such a way that people know it. I mean, the way things happen in life, we start understanding that we don't have to put up any show. Someone knows everything. When we have someone like that, try to follow. So in the third stage, the effort should be to follow your Guru, who is a Sadguru. Now, that one becomes the one, a pattern which you have to follow. But in this also, Sahajogis can be very superficial. One of the Sahajogis used to wear a shawl in a particular way. So I sent him some other Sahajogis that he will try to help them. He can be their Guru. They all started wearing shawl the same way. It's not outside. You have to follow the inside. So when you become the Guru, become the Guru. You become. It's such a short method, just to become. Now if you face yourself, you'll know that there are still some steps you have to cross to become. Even now when I'm lecturing to you, you are thinking of others. Oh, mother is talking about him. Not about yourself. That is how one has to take it inside, the absorption from your Guru, that you have to see yourself. Now, that is very important if we have to become the prophets who will make others prophets. Now the higher stage is that your Guru becomes a deity. When you say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, they go up to that point, but nobody says Guru is Devi. You can have a higher stage than Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. Because the Guru state is where you have the innocence of all this Brahma and Mahesha and Vishnus. Their power of innocence. But then ultimately they say Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. And Parabrahma is the power of the mother that is flowing through you. So you become the instrument of that Parabrahma. But how? Not only by becoming,
Pas
but
seulement,
now becoming the reflector of your deity. To develop yourself into the reflector from Guru to that state. At that state you start controlling all the elements. That's why all these incarnations of Adi Guru had control over elements. Brahmadeva is absolutely manifested through them. So out of Ganesha, which is the Adi Guru, he is born, or he is manifested through these three, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. And then he comes out as Brahmadeva with 4 heads. 3 of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, and the 4th of Sri Ganesha. So Brahmadeva becomes the symbol of Guru. And as you know, Ganesha is Chatwari, is 4 all the time. He becomes these 4. Expression in manifestation. And as you become Brahmadeva, at that stage you control all the elements. So today I have tried to explain to you the different stages of Guru Pada, the state of Guru. And one should understand, whatever we are today, we are extremely blessed and fortunate people. That in this short time you started from a scratch in the mud and you have become the lotus. The lotus will invite many insects and will convert them into lotuses. Madhukara, they call it Madhukara. The ones who are selecting the madhu, the nectar, the the honey. When they get the nectar, they become themselves the lotuses. The whole dirty, filthy pond is covered with those lotus flowers. And one lotus, who is the Guru, grows higher and then is given to the goddess on which she resides. She resides in the heart on the platform, beautiful platform that this lotus has created. But to bear her on your heart, you have to have a heart. There are so many qualities of a Guru, which I have told you. All the best qualities, the 12 qualities of all the signs should be completely manifested in a Guru. And the owner of those qualities is Shiva. So that is how the essence of Shiva out of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, the Mahesha's qualities should shine through you. The Vishnu's qualities of dharma, first you have to make an effort to be dharmic, to be balanced. Then you ascend. Then you become one with the Virata. And then you can give dharma to others. So one has to know that stage by stage it happens to you and you do not become a hypocrite. But you become real. And the reality is shown by its own being. That is how you become. So understand the reality within yourself, face it, solve it. But mostly I have seen when I tell anybody, no mother, I am not like that. No mother, I didn't say like that. That is not true. Some such people would like to sit in front or sort of try to show off or anything. But that's not important. What is important? How much you know yourself. It is self-realization. Once you develop that, then you know the others in the real way and not artificially. And then the enjoyment is complete. Like a bee will never go to an artificial flower. But human beings have to become the bee. The Guru does not need to say that he is the Guru. Today I bless you. I have completed the 12 years of Gurus. And you should really assume the Shiva's powers within yourself. I, that is my body, my mind, my heart, everything
Toute chose.
has spared no efforts to completely indulge into this cleansing, into this making, into this becoming of you people. I request you now
Maintenant,
that please do not waste my efforts. Look at yourself, help yourself,
faites-vous.
and try to rise higher and higher,
Yes.
to become yourself. When you become yourself, then you become the Guru. And once you become the Guru, you become Brahmadeva, Mahesha and Vishnu. So first you are made in the pattern of Ganesha, then Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. But very much depends on your readiness to do it. And most of all, your honesty, sincerity. I hope Sri Ganesha will give you the wisdom to understand. The Shakti will give you Shakti to work hard. And Shiva will give you joy. Sadashiva will give you the joy so that you proceed in your establishment. May God bless you.
Que Dieu vous bénisse.
May God bless you all.